Hi, everybody. That's the most creative introduction of myself that I've heard. खतरों से खेलने वाला जमाई राजा. मुझे लगता है इंडिया में हर जमाई राजा कभी ना कभी खतरों से खेलता ही है. So, quite a lot has been said, and I feel very happy and proud that you've introduced me the way you have introduced me. I need to take some tips on anchoring from you guys. I tend to over-anchor a lot. So, TEDx has been a very inspiring thing in my individual life also. I've seen so many of these TED Talks, and they've all been extremely inspiring. I've learned so much, applied so much, have become a better version of myself. And here I am with my own. People who've been here have been far more accomplished than I am. People who've been here and used this stage, like Jograji, Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. I didn't get your name. I just walked in during. Sumrit, such an inspiring speech. You know, even in terms of struggles and exposure, people have had so much, but I have my own experiences, and here I am. And like Jograji said, that if even a single one of you can get some inspiration out of it, can change a degree of an area of your life, I'd be extremely happy, and it would have been fruitful coming here. So I'm not prepared with the speech. So if I go over and over with nonsense and incoherent stuff, just stop me, ask me some random questions, and I'm going to, do what I have to do, which is shut up. So, like I said, not prepared, so here goes nothing. I've been thinking while I was backstage that what do I speak about? And when I was listening Jograji talk, he had a lot of emphasis on thank you in life, on gratitude. So I would like to speak about the two tools of my life. And the first tool, clearly, because I've already mentioned it, is gratitude. The second tool, okay, so before I speak about the second tool, let me speak to you about the people who inspired me from the creative space, from the industry. I'm 33 years old. I'm a television actor, and I come from Gurgaon. It's popular for many reasons. Not all of them are good. But here I am. And a lot of my conditioning has been because of this creative space, the beautiful industry that I'm a part of, and I'm very, very proud of it. There are many good things about being an actor. You get a lot of attention. You get a lot of love. You get a lot of good wishes from people who don't even know you. You know, they send you so much of prayer. They send you so much of warmth. And we are made because of that. We are made because of what you send us. And other than that, also, there are many things that we get. You know, there's the fat checks, which I have not charged for coming here. And there are opportunities of meeting various kinds of people. People who've achieved a lot. People who are striving to achieve a lot. There are people who've given up completely. But in all these people, there are these various traits, different kinds of conditioning that they share with you, and they somehow contribute to your personality, to shaping you up. So let me first of all talk about the people who achieve a lot, because these are the people we want to latch on to. We want to have their stories. We want to make it our own. We want to latch on to their frequencies, be like them, There's so many great people in our industry, so many of them. And, whether it is Raj Kapoor or Guru Dutt or Devanand or Shah Rukh Khan or Ranbir Kapoor in the present times, they've all been there. And when you even the people that you don't meet, even internationally speaking, like Martin Scorsese or Christopher Nolan, so many great filmmakers, Daniel Day-Lewis, so many great actors, So even the people that you don't actively get to meet, you get to sample their work. You get to see them on screen, the films that they have made, the films that they have acted in. And whenever you try to eavesdrop into their mind, whenever you try to look at how they are thinking, you realize that there's one thing that's common amongst all of them, and that is madness. It's delusion. Delusion. So is it getting a little complicated? Should I simplify it a bit? So when Shah Rukh Khan looked at the Mumbai city at Bandstand and said that one day I'm going to own this city, that was delusion. I'm sure if there was a second guy standing right next to him, he would have turned around and said, "Pagal ho gaya tu? दिमाग खराब हो गया तेरा, कैसी बातें कर रहा है तू?" At some point of time, हम सबकी लाइफ में एक ऐसा मोमेंट आता है जब हम कुछ कहते हैं, and that thing is delusional enough for somebody else to turn around and look at us and say, तेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया, तेरे बस की नहीं है. Am I right? I am right, right? So it must have happened in all our limited exposures to life. I'm not much older than you, at least I'd like to believe that. But at some point of time, all of us, and all great people in this world have had a vision which has exclusively been their own. It's not shared with anybody because not many people have believed in it. It could be from the theory of relativity to Darwin's theory of evolution to anything in the middle, such as life. So my second tool of my life is delusion. Gratitude and delusion, these are the two things I'm going to speak about. I came to the kingdom of dreams, the city of dreams, Mumbai, in 2001 to become an electronics and telecommunication engineer. And I became an electronics and telecommunication engineer, and I'm not very good at it. So if you have telephones के अंदर कोई भी problem हो, cell phones में कोई भी problem हो, मुझे मत देना, मेरे बस की कुछ नहीं है. So, let me go back a little bit in time. And so when I should have taken commerce, because I was good enough for that, I thought that I would also enjoy a lot of my friends. I went ahead and I was delusional enough to take up science. And then I was delusional enough to believe that I'll be able to do well at it, and I actually did well in science. And then I was delusional enough to believe that I'd be able to compete with HSC students who had way better percentages than mine in 12th, and I'd be able to get a seat in their college in their city, and since I was delusional enough, I got that too. That's where I disconnected from my delusion for some time, and I got into realism. And then realism limited me. Because at that point of time, it didn't take me long enough to realize that this course is not for me, because in the very first semester, 4 months into my engineering, I failed in 4 out of my 5 papers. So now you will not clap, will you? So 4 out of my 5 papers, and the dominoes effect continued, and in the subsequent semester also I failed in 4 out of my 5 papers, and I landed up back in the city where I came from, which was Gurgaon. And a little bit about my father is he comes from a village where there was no electricity until some time back. And he studied there, and I'm able to talk in English in front of all of you because he studied very, very hard, and he's worked very hard, and he topped Uttar Pradesh in his time. And then his son goes to another city altogether, takes the honor of his family with him, and then fails there, miserably. Falls flat on the face and comes back to his city. ऐसा लगता है जैसे वो हमारे पिक्चरों में दिखाते हैं कि लड़की की शादी हुई और ससुराल वालों ने वापस भेज दिया. तो जो प्रेशर परिवार वालों पे आता है, जो माँ बाप के ऊपर प्रेशर आता है, कुछ वैसा ही प्रेशर मेरे माँ बाप ने ले लिया था. And obviously it found its way to me also, because I was constantly seeing, अरे आप तो दुबे जी के लड़के हैं ना, वही जिन्होंने यूपी टॉप किया था, आप तो फेल होके वापस आ गए. क्यों पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं होती क्या वहाँ पे? सब आप बच्चे लोग एक जैसे ही होते हैं, स्पेंसरिफ टाइप के. So I had to listen to all these comments, and because I was vulnerable, because I was young, very, very impressionable, a little thing like this pushed me to the edge, and I contemplated suicide. So at that point of time, I wished that I was delusional enough for my future self to come to me and look me in the eye and say, "Terko pata hai teri life kya hone wali hai? Do you even know what's going to happen to you? You're going to be a TV actor. Do you know that? You're going to do so many good shows. There are going to be some awards down the line. You're going to get married to the most beautiful woman in the world. Your life is going to transform completely." If I was not realistic in that moment, I wouldn't have committed the most shameful act of my life, which was an attempt to end it. Well, this moment passed. Thankfully, I was a failure at that too. So I came back home, and as time passed, my then girlfriend introduced me to the philosophy of life that basically anchored me completely. All of us, I believe, need a spiritual anchor. For me, it is Buddhism. For you, it could be something else. But whenever you have a spiritual anchor, it gives you a tremendous self-worth. And when it gives you a tremendous self-worth, you're able to look at not just yourself with a high amount of respect, you're able to look at everybody with that same amount of respect. Now, there's a book called Power, Freedom, and Grace, and I read it. And in that, I read this quote, which somehow became the bedrock of my life, that from where I stand, infinity extends in all directions, which makes me the center of the universe. But from where you stand, also infinity exists in all directions, which means that you are also the center of the universe. From a space where I wanted to end my life because I didn't think that I was good enough, I was thinking that I was the protagonist of my story. I was the hero. And I looked at myself as the hero, no matter how small the challenge, no matter how big. I would always take it in my stride, look at it in the eye, and grab the bull by the horns. There was this heroic nature in me, which I came face to face with. And I was very, very proud of it. That heroic nature kind of became addictive. And so much so that I didn't even want to do parallel lead roles in my shows. I would only do roles when I was offered the hero's role. So time passed, and I'll try to pace it up a little bit. Like I said, I'm not prepared with a speech, so I'm going to go all incoherent, and I'm going to talk a lot of nonsense, so I'm sorry about that. I hope I'm not till this point of time, though. For the subsequent 4 years, I was in the industry. I was doing a lot of shows. But somehow, no matter how hard I was working in those shows, they never had any eyeballs. Sometimes they were not on a channel that was being viewed a lot. Sometimes, हम लोग मजाक करते थे, एक शो में क्या करता था 2007 में, जिसका नाम था यहाँ के हम सिकंदर. So the ratings of the show were not that much. हम लोग कहते थे कि जिस दिन हमारे फैमिली के अंदर या हमारे खानदान में कोई छुट्टी पे चला गया, गर्मी की छुट्टियाँ शुरू हो गई, तो रेटिंग कम हो जाती थी. तो but I don't think I have worked hard in even Jamai Raja to you know, as compared to that. But nonetheless, from 2004 until 2010, I continued working, but until 2010, despite being a part of the industry that I am and internet being at its absolute apex, whenever I used to type Ravi Dubey in Google, Lilith Dubey's husband used to turn up. So basically, it irks, it troubles you a little bit that, you know, there's nobody watching. You're working hard, but there's nobody looking at it. After all, we are in a business of, let me put it in black and white, let me call a spade a spade. We are in a business of vanity. We like being looked at. We love that and we thrive on that. You know, if you stop looking at us, we are nothing. We are nobody. We perish. You know, whether it is less ratings or less business of a Bollywood film, it's one and the same. It all, you are the nucleus of it all. And if you shut your eyes, we are nothing. And at that point of time, I was nothing. Then I reflected back. I told myself that somehow there is something great in these last 4 years that has actually happened. And I kept telling myself, even though I couldn't see what that great thing was, so I was delusional enough at that point of time to believe that there was something good in all these 4 years of me working hard, not earning a lot of money, not being on Google, not being on internet, not being on Twitter or Facebook, but still there is something great. So when I look back, I realized that all my faults as an actor till this point of time are not exposed. I'm getting paid a very handsome amount to do what I'm doing, and that is basically just training myself and polishing myself as an actor so that when people get to see me, they don't see me as a failure that I was. They see me as a success that I am today. Second thing, my self-worth with every scene would climb up and continue climbing up till the time it filled myself with a sense of joy about being myself. The third thing and the most important thing, it was during this time, if I was happy with the way my career was going, if I was happy with the way my shows were shaping up, I would not have done the show in which I found my wife. So I found Sargun, and I did a parallel lead role because somewhere I thought that this is the right thing to do क्योंकि उससे अच्छा तो और कुछ है नहीं हाथ में. तो जब मैं दिल्ली गया तो मुझे सरगुन मिली और उसके बाद आई थिंक शी इज कहते हैं कि जब लड़की आपकी लाइफ में आती है तो वो अपनी किस्मत भी लेके आती है और so मेरी लाइफ की लक्ष्मी मेरी सरगुन ही है. You know, once she came into my life completely transformed. And all these moments from my past, how many minutes am I done with here? कितने हो गए? 18 तो नहीं हुए ना, मुझको बता देना. I'm going on and on, I'm ranting, I don't know why. So after she has come into my life, there has been a dramatic change in my life, and all these moments from the time I have been born until now have come together and formed this moment where I can confidently speak to you about being happy about who I am. So everything was now surfacing from this space of delusion. Delusion. Even if there is no money in the account, I would not do the projects that I don't believe in. Even if the biggest of the producers are offering me stuff that they think is great for me, and they really think that, you know, this is one day we are doing him a favor by, you know, offering him this, you know, I would not do it because somehow I would not believe in it. Television industry is hugely dominated by women, no offense meant. Thank you to you guys, because if you wouldn't be watching, this massive industry would not have been there, और इतना जो रोजगार है, इतनी जो employment जो आज television industry की वजह से वो नहीं होती. Thank you for the women audience. But I was very clear that I wanted to do a show in which I was the hero. I was the protagonist, not just the lead. There's a difference in the television space. Most heroes are leads of the show, not the protagonists. I was clear of the content I wanted to attach myself with. There were close to 40 producers who spoke with me after Nach Baliye. You all have seen Nach Baliye? Me and my wife in it. So after Nach Baliye, I did not do any fiction show. The fiction show that I did before that was Saas Bina Sasural. I hope some of you have seen that also. I was very proud of that show also because I was creatively a lot in sync with that show. So after Nach Baliye, there were so many producers that came to me and said that, you know, this is a great show. The money was great. The money was great. It was huge as compared to what I had been charging till that point of time. But that was somehow not driving me. And clearly at that point of time, that I didn't have a fat bank balance that, you know, I could just do anything I wanted and said, कि ये मैं करूँगा और ये नहीं करूँगा, ऐसी बात नहीं थी. You know, so I remember going to them. I remember there was a time when I went all the way from town, if you're familiar with Mumbai, from Kolaba, until Sakinaka to go to a producer and said that, I'm really sorry, but I cannot do your show. So she kept looking at me for a long time and said that, are you certain that you don't want to do it? You haven't done a fiction show in a very long time. I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm certain that I don't want to do it. But why is that? We are offering you so much money and we know what you were charging before this and this is many times more. मैंने कहा, but ma'am, I want to do a show in which I'm the hero. So you mean that you want to do a show in which you are the lead? You are the protagonist. Yes, ma'am, I want to do that. And she was like, as much as I would like to see you doing that, there's a certain pattern with which the industry operates. You have to be delusional enough to believe that you can have a show in which you are the protagonist. And that was just about all that I needed to hear. Cut to 7 months later, there was a show which was being made on one of the channels that I had worked with previously. And they called me absolutely out of nowhere for an audition. I happened to be free. If I would have taken any of those projects, I would not have been able to go for a look test also for that show. But they called me, and I ended up doing a show which was absolutely a male protagonist show. Not just that, it became a pioneer for many other male protagonist shows to come. And I'm very proud of that. The show's name is Jamai Raja. In fact, the show has just been launched in Indonesia, and it's being launched in Germany. It's being launched in West Bengal. It has been remade by the name of Jamai Raja with different characters. Today in the morning we saw a trailer where it's being launched on an Arabic channel, dubbed in Arabic, and everywhere it seems to be getting the respect that we invested, the kind of positivity and happiness we invested in the show. The show not only saw the light of the day, in an industry where there is a strong point of view that only women-centric shows work, not only did it see the light of the day, it also became the 4th highest opener pan-India during that time. It had a beautiful run for close to 3 years. And so, am I done with the 18 minutes? Done with the 18 minutes? क्या बात कर रहे हो यार? Seriously? ये तो मैं तैयार नहीं था तब है. So, all right, so clearly I've overshot my time. So I still have a lot to say, I don't believe it. So I should come to these talks completely unprepared because I have more to speak. So I'm going to cut the professional journey short and I'm going to come straight to the end. At all times in our life, we are faced with this choice: limited realism or infinite delusion, healthy delusion. Our destiny, as we say, it only determines our past because we can't do anything about it. It determines our present to some extent because we can't do much about it. But it cannot determine our future because the future is a space of infinite possibilities. Anything can happen right now. There's a spaceship that can land right here in the center of this auditorium. We don't know that because the next second has yet not happened. So the future is an imaginative space. Your memory can take you into your past. Your 5 senses can make you perceive the present, but your imagination manufactures the future. So, before I go, I want to give you all a little homework. Find the most delusional version of yourself. The highest version of yourself that you can imagine. Look at yourself earning the maximum amount of money, being the best sons, being the best daughters, being the best husbands, the best wives, and the best professionals you can imagine. You kickstart your delusion. Thank you very much.